Well, welcome to Roots and Fruits. This is the first session of an 8-week course, and our aim is to deepen our relationship with God. We're going to look at knowing God, knowing ourselves, knowing others, and producing fruit out of that. But we're going to start this week with looking at knowing God personally. We'll get to that in a second. Just want to clarify what we mean by roots, because it could sound like this is a course about foundational principles of faith, but it's not really about that. It's fundamentally about putting roots down deep into God. It's about deepening our relationship with God at heart. And that would be our prayer. That'd be my prayer for you guys as you watch these videos, as you discuss together, that you would really learn how to deepen your relationship with God. That you would produce more fruits of the Spirit, of course, and also have your character made into the likeness of Jesus. And we'll get onto those fruit bits, but we're going to spend 6 weeks looking at our roots. And as it may be apparent already, we've gone for our relaxed recording ethos. We've not got professional equipment. We're at home in my lounge with my mobile phone. And the reason for that is that we don't want to create something super slick, or we want to create something that's relaxed. And so that when you're having conversations in your small groups, it feels relaxed, it feels open. The benefits of this course are going to be hugely magnified by you being able to be open. And that'll be my fundamental encouragement at the start. Be ready to be open. Be ready to be honest with yourself, with God, and with others. You're going to reap so much more benefit by doing that. So that's by way of intro to the whole course. Let me introduce this evening's material. Or if you're doing it in the daytime, it's daytime's material. Right, have you ever played a game and you lost because you didn't understand what the aim was? You see, I don't know if you've played caroms. Caroms is an Indian game. It's a game with counters on a square board with 1, 2, 3, I think 4 holes. It's a bit like pool, where you use a white ball to knock another ball into the hole, while you use a red counter to knock, an orange counter to knock a black or white into a hole. But there's also a red counter. And you see, the red counter is a bit like the black ball in pool. But if you were to play it like pool and save that to last and put it down at the end, after you've got all your whites or blacks out of the way, do you know something? You'd lose the game. You wouldn't get the points because it's a different game. You'll have misunderstood. You'll be playing with the rules of pool, but you need to understand how caroms works. It works different. What about your life? What happens if you've got the fundamental questions of life wrong? Or what happens if we've been playing to the wrong rules in this life? I want you to start this evening by getting into groups of 3 or maybe 4, and I want you to have 5 minutes to discuss the following questions. What's this life all about for you? Or what are we aiming for in this life? 5 minutes, pause the video, see you in 5 minutes. I hope you had productive discussions. You probably had to be cut back by your facilitator to make it work. But now, there's lots of right questions to answer. And I'm sure you've come up with good ones like, we're here to worship God. Of course we are. We're here to live for him entirely and totally. Yes, definitely. We want to live and extend the kingdom. We want to show love. All these things are totally true and we should be doing those. But I want us to read from Matthew 7. From verse 21. And these might be quite shocking words. Let me read them to you. This is Jesus speaking. Not everyone who says to me, Lord, Lord, will enter the kingdom of heaven, but only the one who does the will of my Father who is in heaven. Many will say to me on that day, Lord, Lord, did we not prophesy in your name, and in your name drive out demons, and in your name perform many miracles? Then I will tell them plainly, I never knew you. Away from me, evildoers. Oh my goodness. We have what looks like super impressive mature Christians. They're prophesying, they're driving out demons, they're performing miracles. Wow, we'd love some of that, wouldn't we? We'd love to achieve those things. We'd love to produce that fruit even. What word of encouragement or comfort does God have for such people? I never knew you. Away from me, you evildoers. You see, this passage gives us two really important criteria for those who will enter the kingdom of heaven. It's the ones who do the will of the Father and the ones who God knows and who knew God. You're doing this Roots and Fruits course, but we need to recognize this fundamental point. Our fruits, prophesying, miracles, character, outreach, come only with deep roots. So the deepest, most important root is this: knowing God, really knowing him. Not just knowing about him, that is really important and it's part of knowing him. But building an actual relationship with the God of all time and eternity. That's what we're called to. That's what the kingdom of heaven is about. Now, I'm not being dismissive of Bible study or theology. I love both of them. They are essential to our walk with God and our understanding. They determine our understanding of life and who God is. Of course, they're part of that. It provides a framework of understanding of who God really is, rather than just being purely experiential and avoiding the danger of creating God in our own image. We need those things. We need that framework. But if that's all we have, we miss out on the interrelational aspect of friendship with God. See, my observation is that people know they should study. And lots of people do study the Bible. They know it's important, but if the focus is purely on those things, we risk not deepening our relationship with him. Or we have one based purely on factual knowledge. And Jesus points to knowing him as one of the key criterions for eternity with him, along with obedience. In considering this, therefore, there are some dangers. We can go straight for the fruits, can't we? The flashy stuff we can see. They're important and we're going to look at them at some point in time. But we're going to spend most of our time looking at our roots and putting our roots down. The other danger in this course really is that we look at the roots as a means to an end. See, we still focused on the fruits. We still want to do the flashy stuff. And I want us to just put that aside and just realize knowing God for knowing God is an end in itself. Of course it is. And we need to remember this. What a wonderful privilege it is that you and I, as deep and profound sinners, as those who are by our very nature, Ephesians tells us, enemies of God, that we have no way of making a way to God. And yet God has done it all. He's dealt with our sin. He's dealt with our enmity. He's dealt with the barriers and the shame. He's removed them all through the cross of Christ. Why? So that we can celebrate that great sacrifice, of course. But also this, so that we can really know him. It's a gift of grace to us. So, this week and next week are all about getting to know the most important root as deep as possible so we can make sure our focus is on knowing God. Right, let's jump into John 15. If you've got your Bibles, you want to get that open. In John 15, verse 1, this is Jesus speaking again. He says this, I am the true vine, and my Father is the gardener. He cuts off every branch in me that bears no fruit, while every branch that does bear fruit, he prunes, so that it will be even more fruitful. You are already clean because of the word I have spoken to you. Remain in me as I also remain in you. No branch can bear fruit by itself. It must remain in the vine. Neither can you bear fruit unless you remain in me. I am the vine, you are the branches. If you remain in me and I in you, you will bear much fruit. Apart from me, you can do nothing. If you do not remain in me, you are like a branch that is thrown away and withers. Such branches are picked up, thrown into the fire and burned. If you remain in me and my word remain in you, ask whatever you wish and it will be done for you. This is to my Father's glory, that you bear much fruit, showing yourself to be my disciples. A familiar and famous passage, and in the context of this course and today, it has a new resonance, I hope, because we do want fruit. But what do we read about producing that fruit? Fruitful vines will be pruned to produce more fruit. No branch can produce fruit on its own. So important, it needs the vine. We cannot bear fruit unless we remain in Jesus. In fact, we can do nothing apart from Jesus. And when we remain in him, and when we bear fruit, we show that we are true disciples. Well, I think that's enough from me. I'm going to hand it over to you guys now to consider this passage and its impact for you. So get back into your groups of 3 and 4. And on a sheet that the facilitator has, or the Maybe Impassion one, you've got some questions I want you to look at. Now, those questions are designed to get us talking about this passage and thinking about our relationship with God. Don't feel like you have to get through them all. If one doesn't make sense or isn't helpful, just move on to the next one. You've got 20 minutes or more, if your facilitator allows, to chat together. And once you've discussed those questions, just have 10 minutes to feedback in a group together what you found, what you've understood, what you've got hold of. Okay? Time to pause the video. See you in a bit. Now, great to have you back. Hope you had great conversations. Hope they were helpful. My other hope is this, that we've reset our compass today. We've looked afresh at what's really important. We can get so distracted with so many things, even really good things, and forget about the fundamental thing, that we're here to know God. We don't want to get caught in the place where we do lots of exploits for God, or we're chasing after fruit, but we end up missing out on relationship with him. We were made to know him, and he longs for us to know him deeply. We are branches and we are designed to bear fruit, but we're made to know Jesus. We're made to remain in the vine. We're made to be connected to him. When we look after that, the fruit will start to grow. And as we finish, I want to underline this. We can know the Almighty Creator, God, because of his choosing of us, his dying for us, and his adopting of us as his children. It's staggering. It's amazing. Every morning you step up, you can stand confidently on the cross of Christ, knowing that you can freely come into the presence of the Almighty. Whether you feel like it or not, whether you're convicted of sin or not, whatever state your heart is in, you can still come because of Jesus. We can still know him. And when we declare that and when we walk into that, we defeat the primary work of the enemy, which is to detach us from relationship with God, because he knows how important it is. Let's not take that relationship for granted. Now, next week, we're going to look at how we can, or some of the ways we can experientially know God, or how we can remain in him. We're going to get really practical and look at how we can genuinely know him and be sourced by him for all that he's called us to do. So don't miss it. I'm praying it'll be life-changing. For now, I'm going to finish. The video is going to end, and you guys get to chat a bit more and pray together if you want, or even worship. Over to you, facilitators.